Hello everyone, my name is Dr. Jamie Johnson. I am the Interim Director for the School of Law Enforcement and Justice Administration. And I want to welcome you to another episode of WIU Inside the System, sponsored by Western Illinois University. Today we have a very special guest with us. We have Dr. Barry McCrary. First, I want to thank you for being here, sir, so much. Dr. McCrary has been in the juvenile justice system and working since 1984. We were just laughing off camera by the years, and we also made a little bit of jokes too that we all are getting more seasoned. I'll use that term, more seasoned as we go. So again, Dr. McCrary, I want to thank you again for being here.
Yeah,
so,
absolutely. No
all right, so Barry, so here's what we've got. You have a wealth of background, and like we were talking before, I do not even know where to start, and I'm just going to highlight this a little bit, right? Okay, so again, you've been in the juvenile system since 1984.
Yes.
You founded the non-for-profit back in 1990, and I'd love to talk to you more about that here in a second. And of course, you've worked as a counselor, a consultant, a therapist, a crisis intervention specialist. That's huge, and don't forget, you're a full professor with us.
Yes.
Okay, so so we are excited to have you here. And of course, I have a series of questions that I'm going to ask you. And if you say something that's like, oh man, I got to know more about it, go to probe a little bit, okay, as we start to go.
Sure.
So Barry, here's the thing. Okay. Our students want to get to know our faculty more. Here's a couple of things I've got, which is kind of humorous, is, oh, they're human. Yep, we're human, and we started like them.
Exactly.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So I want this absolutely clear, right?
Yes.
Can you tell us and tell the students, tell people who are watching this, how did you get into your chosen field? I want to know how you got there.
Yeah. I was out of high school, and of course I went to college. When I went to college, well, let me back up. In high school, I played football.
Okay.
And so in Pittsburgh, and I'm from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, home of the Steelers.
By the way, you know I'm a Steelers fan.
Okay.
Fist bump.
There you go. There you go, Steelers. This is going to go really
yes,
good.
Yes, it is.
But so I played football for a city, and 2 years out of the 4, we won championships.
Wow.
And I was able to play at Three River Stadium.
Did you? Okay,
Steelers,
what's your position, Barry?
Defensive tackle and
Okay.
offensive guard.
All right.
Yes.
All right, yes, yeah, I see that.
Oh, yeah. And so for championship, we're practicing on one side of the field. The Steelers is on the other side of the field. Yes. And we won 2 championships out of my 4 years there. Reason why I'm telling you a little bit about this, on my senior year, I was named All-City Defensive Tackle of the city.
That's huge.
Oh, yeah, yes. I mean,
I love that.
so this brings me to, transitioning from high school to college, I really was so ready to play football. And my focus started just playing football.
I got it.
And that transition moving into different universities because I wanted to play, it didn't go quite as well for me, that transition. And I was focusing more on football than academics.
Got it.
So what I did, I ended up dropping out of college.
Okay.
And I went back and I went home and I started to I was working different jobs. I thought I was going to get a good job. And a friend of mine, he said, Barry, they're opening, he was a probation officer.
Yeah.
Juvenile probation officer. And he said, Barry, there's an opening at a group home setting. It's a live-in counselor for a group home. And I think you would be great for that job. And that's really what started me. I went down there, interviewed, they hired me for a live-in counselor, basically a group home setting.
Yeah.
And that's where I started working there, and I really enjoyed that job. So that was the first job that got me into this career.
That's excellent.
Mm-hmm.
That's excellent. I love that. And of course, Steelers, you know. Tell me you got an autograph. Did you get an autograph?
Oh, yeah.
Mm-hmm. So, and of course, I will not ask about how we're doing. But, okay, it's going to get better. We have high hopes for the Steelers line. All right, so now, Can you please expand on why you got the degrees you got and explain how they strengthened you throughout the process?
Yeah, absolutely. Once I started working at that group home setting, and I was in college, I said, you know what, I'm all in for this. So I re-enrolled, and I said I want to get my degree in criminal justice, because I'm working there at that group home. So I enrolled back. I started back in community college right there in Pittsburgh, and I said, let me just take a class at a time, ease my way back in. I ended up getting an associate degree at the community college for criminal justice. Then, of course, then after that one, I went on to Geneva College right there in Pittsburgh, and finished up and I got my bachelor's degree. So I moved from the community college 2 more years for that bachelor's degree. And while I was doing that, of course, I was working at the group home, and I'll tell you the other place I worked. But then after the undergrad degree, so that one was in human resource management.
Got it.
The bachelor's. Then I was working for the juvenile court, and they said they had a program where at Shippensburg University, that's in Pennsylvania, the middle part of Pennsylvania, near Harrisburg, they would pay for your master's degree.
Really?
Yes.
That was nice.
Exactly. So from Geneva College, then I went to Shippensburg University and received the master's degree in justice administration from there. And then I wanted to keep plugging on. That's when I went to Duquesne University. That's right in Pittsburgh as well, and got the doctorate degree in education. And I looked at how to improve treatment to meet social developmental needs for juvenile offenders. So
that's huge.
That was my research.
When was that?
I graduated from Duquesne University in 2003.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's extreme, in my mind, progressive. I mean, really ahead of your time. Okay. I mean, because when we look, say the health or the mental health, of the individual as well, it just we need to spend more time on that.
Oh, absolutely.
And you were ahead of that, which is I think that's really good.
And that's where, I guess another thing, a friend of mine that pointed me in that direction said, Barry, you'll be good at that. Then unconsciously, I didn't realize my mother, she was a social worker, right? But I didn't. But then I was like, oh, maybe that's why I'm so into this thing, and dealing with, because I really didn't even think about that until afterwards, saying, wow, Mom, you really got me interested too. But I didn't. But the specific job was a friend of mine that we went to high school together.
Got it.
And yep. So
that's awesome. That's awesome. Okay. Now, throughout all your times, all your trainings, everything that you've done, right? Do you have any stories out there that you say, my goodness, this was the unique turn, this was extremely special, this was a challenging area that I went through? Is there anything you can express to the students that you went through?
I can't remember a specific training that I had that sticks out, but I guess the only thing for us as students is that when I was telling you earlier that when I lost focus when I first went to college. And so maybe I'll just tell them that, it's okay, because you can really think about that and, correct it,
I love it. I love it. So now, this is going to kind of link, and I think you might link into it. What was your biggest failure, and what did you learn? And I'll explain why. A lot of the students are going to come in, and they could come in and say, I have a 4.0 coming in. They're going to fail some. Some's going to get them, right? How did you overcome? I mean, what drew you? You had to have a drive, if you even come back to college, stuff like that. What did it for you?
Well, again, it's going back to the biggest failure was not focusing on academics, because I was looking more at football.
Right.
But that's where I had to humble myself and really think hard on, because they say, oh, you got all this potential, but what good is potential? So I really had to really think hard. What do you want to do? You know, what do you want to be all in on? And I found something in the criminal justice system. And what I would tell students is, the criminal justice system is a whole system. It's not just law enforcement.
Correct.
Law enforcement is so important. However, we're talking about a whole aspect of different things right here.
Yes, sir.
And everybody can really contribute to it. So that's what really got me excited about it. So the big failure was I dropped out of college. But then I said, I really started saying no. I want to go back there. And that's when I started seeing all my mother's library of all these social books and all this stuff. I started saying, wow, it's right here too. So yeah, so those are some of the things that to overcome. So that's what I would tell students.
Okay.
It's
All right.
okay to fail something, but then prioritize. That's all I did. I started saying the priority. What am I going to do? So yeah.
I think that's huge. And it sounds like your mom was very influential in that.
Absolutely.
You know, so I think that's huge.
And I'll say briefly, it was a perfect, to me, family situation. I'm the oldest of four. My father was my hero. My mother was at home basically. And so he would come home and I would be so glad to see my father. But I'll just tell you real briefly.
Sure.
At 8, my father started getting sick. And I didn't know how sick he was, so at 10, he actually died from kidney failure. That was traumatic in my life at that young age, and what that happened. So, reason why I'm bringing that up is my mother, she was just a housewife. So when he started getting sick, she was saying, okay, she had to start working, right?
Yeah.
And my mother, believe it or not, after that happened, my mother went back to school.
Wow.
Oh yeah, she went back to school while I was in high school. And guess what? And then she went to University of Pittsburgh, and she was like, okay, I'm in school, you're in school, and she would be like, this is my grades, what are your grades?
Okay, I love that.
And so she's my hero too, because I saw my mother with 4 kids. Her husband passed away, died of kidney failure. And I'm watching my mother go back to school in her 40 and get 2 master's degrees.
Wow.
Social work and public administration. Oh yeah, while I was in high school. And so I saw this, it was like, for her, she went back at 40. And so, yeah, that had a major impression on me. And then she was working too while she was finishing school. And when I was a junior, that's when she finished, and then she ended up working for the state Human Relations Commission. So that influenced me on the importance of an education. It was major. Wow. So that's where I felt like I was able to, and so the students is listening, I'm sure they will see, because being successful isn't just by accident.
No.
And so I would tell students, you're going to be our future judges. You're going to be our future, chiefs, and on and on and on. And I'll even ask them, well, what motivated you to be here? So that was my story, to be able to go to university, and I pulled on what I saw her do.
Okay, that's amazing, seriously. And I will say this too, because of all the influences you had, and plus with your mom and the social work aspect of it, Kurt, probably in the last, 3.5 years, we've heard a lot about law enforcement changing, law enforcement going this way. Some people, and of course, we're going, all those areas, right? The one area that is very, very fascinating right now to me, and you're ahead of the curve, is going, hey, look, we can look at things differently. Within the School of Law Enforcement here, we have so many people. That's one thing, even me doing the interviews, okay, right? like I was saying, I was like, oh my goodness, your bio is like huge. I mean, just because it was like, I'm learning this, but it also shows, my goodness, do we have diversity of thought? And, you know, and that makes our program here in Western very, very special.
Absolutely. Yes.
Because I'll be honest with you, I want students going out to say, I can look at this from multiple different points of view.
Right.
Not
Absolutely.
just one.
Yes.
Okay?
I agree.
And I think that is absolutely huge.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely
and
huge.
that's one thing I do tell the students too. All of our faculty, they have a story,
Yeah.
and they worked in the field, and so you have access to a lot of things that, you know. So absolutely, I agree with
And
you.
I think too, that's great for us having you here. A student can go right to your office
Yes.
and physically talk to you.
Absolutely.
Versus,
Yes.
say, at other institutions, it might be you got to go through the TA or the GA, and maybe you're going to
Right.
see Dr. McCrary at some point, right?
Right,
Okay.
right.
I think that's absolutely huge. They can sit down and
Yes,
just talk to you.
I agree.
So I
Absolutely.
just want that absolutely clear. Okay. So now you've touched on this. Okay. So so the 3 most influential people that impacted you, I know your mom's on there.
Absolutely.
Okay, right? Probably your dad's going to be
Yes,
on there,
my
right?
superhero, yes.
What would be 2 others? Can you give me 2 others?
Well, the other one is my friend Dwayne Adams. He's my friend that he's the one that said, Barry, we have this job here. And I always tell him when I go back, I said, man, do you realize you're responsible for me being in this field?
Yeah.
Just by you being a probation officer saying, Barry, you would be good at this. Go down here. So that's you know, a person definitely as well.
That's huge.
Oh yeah, yes. So
That is huge. Okay, so now, a person who wants to be you. Let's keep that modeling, right? Okay, so students will look at bios and they're kind of, wow, what do I do? How do I start? So if you have a student, okay, Barry, who wants to follow and say your footsteps of how you got there, the way you think and the way you move within the system, right? What advice would you give them?
I would.
And this has become a tough question.
Yes. No. The thing I think about so much is in this field, what really grounds me is in human development. What is it? How?
Sure.
Because our field is dealing with like a multidisciplinary approach. So human development. That started interesting me. Psychology, sociology. Because in my criminology class, that's what we start talking about, all those different things and factors, and even in dealing with motives of why people commit crimes. But the bottom part of it is human development. We're all humans, and how do we move and develop? And why do we think the way we think? Why do we do the things that we do? So to me, that's the foundation. The foundation of this field is managing behaviors or in human development.
Yep.
You know, interacting with people. So that's the foundation, because in this field, that's what you're going to be dealing with, and they're going to be calling our students to be able to go out to talk to people and manage behaviors and make decisions and encourage whichever way. Exactly. So that's where I would say that's like the foundation of a justice system, because the system is dealing with people.
Yes.
That's what we're doing. If you're a first responder, if you're working whatever parts of the court, because and another thing I tell them, you can work in the law enforcement. We got all kind of levels on law enforcement, but then you have to go to the courts.
Correct.
And then you go to the Department of Corrections. I said there's 3 main areas, but the foundation is what? People.
That's right.
People. How do you work with people? That's what I would tell students. If you have if you don't mind working with people. Now, some people, of course, we need people to go in the labs and working on whatever it is, but this is a people thing right here. And so you really have to understand people and yourself. That's a big one.
That is a big one.
Because maybe I'll just, can I elaborate?
Yeah, because that's a big one.
See, this thing right here is when we are in these positions in the criminal justice system, I would say to students, the biggest thing that they really have to understand is themselves first. You have to understand, we all possibly have some type of biases, maybe.
Oh, correct, yeah.
If you at least acknowledge that, you don't want to bring your personal issues into this position when you are given authority to deal with other people.
Yep.
Because that can be harmful. You have to take that away and be able to be objective. Long as you're aware of it, this field, it can be so fulfilling. That's why, like you said, just being able to touch bases with all perspectives. I tell students as well, the university, that's the place for the university, because when you go to the academy or different places to training, they're going to tell you what to do. Yes. Here you explore.
Correct.
I believe you explore all the different avenues and what it takes for you to be a future leader within the criminal justice system, or the justice system, period. So
that's
huge.
What
I would say.
Well, one thing, I had a group, oh boy, it was back in the summer, and it was a relatively large one. And I might comment, all law enforcement, and a lot of them were going FBI, I hear FBI a lot. And of course, you know, all different agencies, U.S. Marshals, and I said this, I was like, would any of you commit a crime? And it was interesting, and it all got real quiet. and then if I got a couple, was like, no, never. Well, okay, then they were like, well, we'll get rid of the speeding, or you ran us. Okay, does that make sense, right? Okay, and I made a comment this. So I'm going to give you an example, and I want to know what you guys would do. So we're playing a little here. Okay, so I said, let's say you got a family, or you say you got married, you got a kid, whatever it is, right? Your kid's sick. All right, you can't get the drug for the kid. You can't pay for it. Insurance told you no 10 times. You see the drug, you know where it's at. Your kid's going to die if you don't get the drug. I said, raise your hand if you're going to go get that drug. Okay, now I'm going to tell you flat out, most of those students all of a sudden go, I'm going to go get the drug. Okay, so now people say, why do you want to know this? Because a lot of times people are going to commit a crime, but you don't know why they committed that crime. And don't get me wrong, we all understand, of course, there's evil. We deal with that. We deal with all the terrorism stuff. We got that. Okay, right? But we also got to keep in mind, too, you may have a person who's been hurting. Right. The system has berated them down. Absolutely. Okay? And we've got to look at from different points of view. Yes. And so, again, yes, if I did it, I took responsibility. I broke the law, I did it. But look at my opinion, okay? Don't know if our entire criminal justice system, I'm setting this up, can handle that one, okay? Exactly. That's all. I'm kind of egging it a little bit, eggshell it.
And you know what, you're bringing up a good point, because what I say too, I said, in this field, we look at the behavior of a person, absolutely. Yes, but I challenge them, but what about the behavior of the law? One of the things that as far as the students, I really start talking about, we know people commit crimes, but I want them to start really analyzing, especially in the criminology course, why people commit crimes. And one of the things that I really talk about is the difference between the behavior of people versus the behavior of laws. And when I tell them that, I want them to just be conscious of the laws can change. And one day a person can be a criminal, and the next day they can be, it could be somebody can make a business out of it. And one of the examples is the marijuana laws. I mean, sometimes some people are in prison for that. Absolutely. Right now, some people are making billions of dollars because of that. And also, just think about it. Laws, the behavior of laws. The federal government, under the federal government, that's still illegal. Yep. But for certain states, it's legal. So there's a lot of different things, twists and turns within the system. So I want to let students know about just understanding it's not like just for better, terms, it's not just a black and white issue. It's it's all these different circumstances that goes along with it. But and that's where to me, it starts becoming so interesting to study in this field, because you're looking at, all those different dynamics and factors. And that's where, to me, students start saying, oh, they start getting excited about this. And it's not just the one thing. Because again, I always remind them, law enforcement, the courts, and Department of Corrections. And so that we can continue to break that down. But yeah, those are some of the things for us, the difference in motives.
I think it's brilliant because we want to make sure that they have multiple dimensions of the way they think. And you're right, because you brought up before, every person in here comes with a bias.
Exactly.
And we got that. So a person may come from a big city, they may come from a little town.
Yes.
And they're all, and they're all trained by someone who raised them, right?
Exactly.
And we're not saying per se that's wrong.
Right, no,
we're just trying to broaden that horizon.
Exactly, that's all. Because one of the big things with that is, at least if you know it, then that's when you're going into these situations to deal with certain things, you already know, but you're not, so that way you minimize you bringing your personal issues.
Correct.
That will be a problem when you're dealing with what you're supposed to do. You see what I mean? You don't want to add to the problem.
Correct.
So when you're aware of who you are and all of your things, that to me, that makes you more of an asset because,
understood.
So those are some of the things that I try to.
Well, I think that is huge, and individualism is going to has to be there.
Can I tell you an example? Working for juveniles, for example, the whole focus on juvenile justice system is rehabilitation. Mm-hmm. So you have to really understand who you are if you're going to not only hold them accountable, but you're trying to help them get out of their circumstance because you're juveniles. Right. So they're going to look at you as a model, and we have to be standard bearers. We have to be able to, when we're talking to a juvenile, it's all rehabilitation, and we're trying to be able to model behaviors so they can be able to move forward. If you have all your issues and you haven't understand them and understand all of us, we have biases, you're going to bring stuff to the table that's going to harm that situation. So I would tell students, even if you're in the law enforcement part, the courts, or the corrections, you have to be able to me, if you're to be good at that job, that's just one of the things I would suggest.
That's huge. Okay, and I totally agree with you there because if you're working with someone, say if you're in the correction line,
right.
I understand too. You're going to get a juvenile who may not like you, and
exactly.
you're going to get a juvenile who may like you, and the one thing that they have to understand, and this is I know this is tough, is sometimes when someone doesn't like you, they're still valued.
Yes.
And they have to understand that value to ever rehab back. Mm-hmm. And that's one thing. It's like a lot of the research. Now when I started, especially prepping and even talking to you, I'll be honest, I probably read 13 of the major researchers on it, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, and every one of them stated that if the person feels that they are valuable and that someone else deems them as valuable, the success rate is off the chart.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. If they feel that no one values them versus that, does that make sense, right? So,
yes.
I totally agree, and I think the more people we can put in that mindset, the better. So
absolutely, I agree.
Okay, so what is one thing about your career that you simply didn't expect?
What I didn't expect, I can't think of nothing real specific on that one that I didn't expect.
Well, I threw a good one then.
Yeah, because this field is something that you are pretty much, once you get in it, from my perspective, I was looking at all these different factors. Yeah. Because that's why my dissertation was social developmental needs, and all those different factors. I wanted to look at that. So the surprise, I guess maybe I don't know with the surprise because I kind of expect all kind of different things, and that's why we're talking about the foundation of it is understanding people, human development. So that's what
here's a follow-up question. Okay,
sure.
So and of course removing biases and so on.
Right.
When the job is done each day, what would you recommend as say 3 de-stressors? Because you're going to bring some of that. You don't want to bring it home.
Right.
What do you recommend, or is there a process that you use that you can help the student say, okay, how do I?
Right.
distance now a little bit away from the job because I do need that time.
That's true. You know what? That's why I was telling you, my father was my hero. When he came home from work, and he was a truck driver delivering scaffold to construction sites, right? He would, believe it or not, he's from down Georgia.
Okay.
My mother is from Pittsburgh. When he would come home and cook our dinner, and I was up under him, and I would be right there helping him cook and stuff. So just think about it. My mother was at home, but he came home, changed his clothes, and got in the kitchen and started cooking. And so really, I didn't realize this, but that was something he enjoyed to do. He enjoyed it, and guess what? That's what I picked up. That's one of my hobbies.
You like to cook?
I do.
Okay, I'm going to ask this.
And so people. So I would tell students, you could have something that you're interested in, a hobby or something, so it takes away from. And so I really enjoy it because I got that from my father. So that's another thing. It's not a role for a certain gender or person. No. And I picked that up early on. I was like, oh, he likes to cook, and I'm in there with him, and that must have been a decompressor for him. Yeah. And then guess what? It is for me too. That's excellent. Some people go fishing, some people, different hobbies, whatever it is, and I might have others, but that's one that I really, believe it or not, enjoy. Yep.
I wish I could cook. Sorry, look at you going, I didn't get it. So, and my entire family would be going, yep, you did not get that. Okay, so no, that's excellent. What is going to be a common myth about your job or field or expertise that you could dispel right here, right now? Oh, yeah. Some type of a myth.
See, to me, a lot of people think, lock them up, put them in jail, build more prisons, and punish. Got it. That is not going to reduce the crime and solve the problems. You can't so that's a myth. People believe it, but just punishment, that's why I was telling you in the juvenile justice system, the focus on we have to deal with rehabilitation. On the adult system, you don't.
Why do you think that is?
It's all punishment. And the big thing, the reason why I really think is we can reduce crime. There are studies that saying that if, for example, it was maybe 20, 30 years ago, you could, even if you was in prison, the universities can go in there and actually and provide you with a undergrad degree, master's degree, PhD. Because they were eligible for Pell Grants. Guess what? The likelihood of them getting back in trouble after they were valuable to society.
There's that value.
Exactly. You know what I'm talking about. Yep. That when they leave, guess what? They didn't come back because they were valuable, and but guess what? It's a hard sell. People, politicians, and far as and our tax dollars, that a lot of the thing is no. How dare you give them some type of education? How dare you give them anything that, Correct. Because no, punishment. So that's where I would say. I said we as a society have to look really hard at that to say, so is that really working? Because we're building more prisons. We're building more jails. Another thing about this thing, we're real heavy on funding the front part of it, law enforcement. Mm-hmm. Go arrest, law enforcement. And the budget is huge. They're even pouring more money in that. Guess what? Right now, the courts are begging, we don't have enough money even for judges. We don't have enough money to pay public defenders. We don't have... And so guess what? If you look at that research, most of the money is poured into the front end. But what happens at the court and what in the Department of Corrections? And that's why over 90% of all crimes are not going to the trial. They are plea bargains. Wow. Over 90% of all. So those are some of the things that I would address if,
That's excellent
hopefully.
points. That's excellent points. And I know we.
That's because people. I mean, it's people. Punish them if you did this. And I understand that part of that, but I don't think you could just do that.
Correct.
That's my point. It has to be something else. I show students, even prisoners getting out of prison. First of all, I tell them when they get out of prison, a lot of times they leave with, if they're on medication, they give them 2 weeks worth of medicine, $75, and good luck. Guess what? Most prisoners, when they leave, they're homeless.
Yep, that's what I was just thinking.
Because guess what? Good, and I tell them, okay, students, what happens at 18 if your parents said, okay, you're free to go, bye. You ain't living here, but you're free. You're free to go. Correct. What are you going to do? So when you ask that question about, what would they do for us in medicine or whatever, that's the same thing. I'm like, what is freedom? Mm-hmm. If I just say you're free to go, I don't have no money, I don't have no job, I don't have a place to live.
That's exactly it.
What would you do? I tell them another thing. They was like, you wouldn't commit a crime. Well, okay, what happens if they just accuse you of it and put you in a jail?
Yep.
What are you going to do? How are you going to survive in there?
That's right.
So those are some of the lessons. I just want them to just understand it's not like a us versus them. Mm-hmm. It's like, no, how do we deal with it? But the big thing is, it's hard to convince. The myth is just punishment will deal with it. California learned from that. The 3 strikes law. Mm-hmm. They went bankrupt because guess what? Just because we put that was supposed to be a deterrent from committing crimes, because your third felony, yeah, you're going to be in prison for life without parole. Did it work? No. It just packed the prisons up, because guess what? Are they going to be thinking about that? This is my third felony, but whatever the circumstances. No, they end up in there, and went bankrupt because they had to just keep piling more people in there, piling more. So again, I think us working in the field and these students that we're talking to, we're saying you just really understanding this system itself. That way, when you leave out, of course, you're going to do your job, but then you're going to be in a position to be a judge or a chief of police or a warden or whatever it is. You're going to be in some leadership roles. And so take this opportunity with LEJA and just understand all the dynamics that goes on, because it's not as just simple as lock them up.
Well, I agree, and I think a lot of people are going back and looking at the model of what we call the tiers, right? So primary prevention, secondary prevention, mm-hmm. and tertiary. And primary, of course, educate them before it happens, right? Give them all the access, right? Mm-hmm. Secondary, we caught you. We got to do a mid-course correction. Let's do that now. We don't have to throw anyone in jail or prison. Let's make a quick corporation. Tertiary, of course, okay, they're with you. And now we got to get them back. And there's no difference if it was the medical model. If we do the medical model, you got to do primary prevention, eat healthy, take care of yourself, right? How that goes, right? Secondary detection could be a mammogram or something like that. We detect it. Early detection, right? Okay. And then tertiary, we go to surgery. Right. Doesn't mean it doesn't mean we stop. Right? Okay.
Exactly.
So again, I think sometimes when these conversations are happening, these points of view will get lost. And so then it gets become one-sided. So okay, so one more question here for us, and then we're going to go into something called speed round. Okay, so who has been the most important professional mentor in your career life? And that could be, it could be anywhere that, when you're a crisis intervention, it could be anywhere here, it could be whatever. You decide.
You know what, a professor at University of Pittsburgh, actually we still meet once a week by Zoom.
Do you really?
Oh yeah.
That's
awesome. When I go home, we are the one we continue to develop programs right now, because he retired recently from University of Pittsburgh, but he is Dr. Jerome Taylor, he's a psychologist, and also he was a chair also of the Africana Studies in University of Pittsburgh.
Excellent.
He had, while of course being a professor, he established what's called family of excellence, and we have so much research in dealing with how to help families and doing research dealing with values for life, those type of things. So we still work together very, very closely on producing articles, papers, and providing some type of research for different organizations. So yeah, I would say
that's excellent,
Dr. Taylor.
Excellent.
Yes.
All right, Barry. Okay, so we're at the time now. These are silly questions, and the students wanted to do a speed round with them. So I'm going to ask you some questions, and you just give me an answer.
Okay.
And if you say you don't want to answer a question, I tell you, you could say pass. Okay, is that making sense, right?
Yes.
All right, here we go. Okay. Dog or cat?
Dog.
Okay. What's your favorite type of dog?
When I was younger, I had a pit bull.
Okay. I have a bulldog, so there you go.
Oh, okay.
So
Okay.
yeah, and to be honest, I love it. I really do. Okay, so favorite color?
I would say, oh my goodness. I love my Steeler colors, black and gold. But
Okay, that's good. Okay, so black and gold. Okay, last book you read?
The last book I read, well, I was just telling students about The Criminal Personality by Dr. Samana. That's probably one of them that I read. It's others, but that's the one that just sticks out.
Okay, all right. Thank you so much. Favorite time of day?
The favorite time of day, I guess maybe around evening time.
Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Favorite TV show? Oh, there we go.
Oh my goodness. I'm consumed with watching the news.
The
I'll just
news?
say that.
Okay.
I know. It's interesting.
Okay, wow,
That's
Barry.
correct.
Well,
But I know. I watch those. But because I guess in our field, things happen so much, and but
Sorry.
I know.
Well,
And maybe Law and Order.
oh, do you watch Law and Order?
Oh yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
my wife just
Yeah.
loved that
Yeah.
bell, that dun dun. Yeah. Okay, so not my favorite show, but I know it was one of hers. Okay. Favorite movie?
Just think. I don't even know. I'm not like a big movie person.
That's
either.
okay. Is that a pass?
Yeah. That's
What
a
was that?
pass.
Okay, so I already know this answer, but okay, so your favorite hobby is probably what?
Cooking.
Cooking. Okay, right. What's your favorite food to cook?
My favorite food. Oh boy.
I
Cook so many different dishes, but I do love cooking seafood, like all the different fishes, fish like that, but
That's
a lot of different things.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, Dr. McCrary, thank you for taking time to be with me today. I appreciate that
Oh,
so
thank
much.
you. Thank you.
Okay, so, thank you everyone for watching this episode with Dr. McCrary. And again, please look forward to upcoming episodes of Inside the System. And we thank you again for taking part in our lives. Take care.